Hey horror fans, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a spine-chilling theory. Are A24 horror films secretly connected? Are these films part of a larger unseen universe, or are we just looking too deep into things? While there's no official confirmation, there are eerie parallels between these films that suggest there might be something bigger going on here. So let's take a terrifying stroll through A24's catalog and see if we can connect the dots and maybe even uncover a hidden universe. But before we get into the films, let's talk about four major themes that tie almost every A24 horror movie together. The cosmic unknown. An unseen force influences reality in ways beyond human comprehension. Whether it's the light in the lighthouse or the demonic presence in Hereditary, something is always operating beyond what the characters or we can fully grasp. Fate versus free will. Characters often believe they have choices, but in reality, they're just fulfilling a destiny that's been laid out for them long before they even realize it. Occult and ritualistic practices. Cults, ceremonies, and dark rituals are common threads that manipulate the supernatural and ensure control over those who fall victim to it. Supernatural entities preying on the vulnerable, whether it's Thomason in The Witch or Mia in Talk to Me. A24's horrors often target those already broken using their grief, trauma, and isolation to gain control. These recurring themes make A24's horror catalog feel like one long, inescapable nightmare. Each film feels like a different chapter in a sinister grand design. The more you analyze it, the clearer it becomes that these connections aren't just coincidences. The themes repeat, but so do specific visual cues, motives, and character archetypes. From isolated settings that trap characters physically and mentally, to the symbolic cues of lightness and darkness. These films feel like pieces of a terrifying puzzle that we're just now beginning to understand. The Witch sets the tone by introducing the idea of predestination. Thomason, a Puritan girl, descends into darkness after her family's tragic unraveling. But was her fate sealed from the start? The devil's influence was subtle but constant, tempting her with power until she had no choice but to embrace her destiny. Thomason's journey mirrors Peter's in Hereditary's and Danny's in Midsummer. None of them truly had control. They were all chosen. The devil's influence over Thomason parallels the unseen forces manipulating characters in other A24 films. The Witch's Coven represents the beginning of a long tradition of cults and rituals that resurface in Hereditary and Midsummer. Notice how Thomas's acceptance of her fate mirrors Danny's coronation as the May Queen. Both scenes feature women who've lost everything, embracing a dark new path that was waiting for them all along. Hereditary introduces us to a different kind of manipulation. Cult-driven possession. The Grant family, unknowingly tied to demonic cult, is used as a vessel to bring Paimon, a king of hell, into the physical world. From the moment Charlie was born, her fates and her family's was already sealed. Annie and Peter believed they were making choices, but in reality, they were walking a path that was already laid out for them by a demonic cult. Just like Thomason, Peter was marked from the beginning. His destiny was never his own. Paimon's influence stretches beyond Hereditary. Could this malevolent force be connected to entities in The Witch in the Lighthouse? The concept of sacrificial offerings echoes across multiple A24 films, reinforcing the idea that these supernatural forces thrive on suffering and devotion. Look closely at the treehouse where Paimon's ritual is completed. The shape of the symbol is eerily similar to the cult symbol in Midsummer. Could this be a visual clue that these entities are part of the same cosmic force? The Lighthouse takes us beyond cults and possession into the realm of cosmic horror. Two lighthouse keepers, stranded on a remote island, descend into madness as they obsess over mysterious light. But what if the light isn't just a source of obsession? What if it's another manifestation of the same malevolent force we've seen in the other A24 films? Isolation. A key theme in The Witch and Hereditary drives the characters to insanity. The unseen force controlling the light echoes the manipulative entities in the other films, whether it's Paimon, the devil, or the cults. The light itself could represent a cosmic entity beyond comprehension, suggesting that the true puppet master of the A24 universe operates on a scale beyond human comprehension. The descent into madness in the lighthouse mirrors the emotional unraveling of Annie in Hereditary and Danny in Midsummer, where grief and trauma leaves them vulnerable to supernatural influence. The Promethean myth referenced in the lighthouse, where a mortal is punished for seeking forbidden knowledge, echoes the forbidden knowledge granted to Thomason, Peter, and Danny. Midsummer shows us the dangers of cult indoctrination. Danny, emotionally shattered after a family tragedy, is lured into the Swedish cult that grooms her to become their May Queen. But was Danny really a victim? Or was she chosen long before she set foot in Sweden? The cult's rituals mirror the cult's action in Hereditary, suggesting a shared mythology of manipulation and sacrifice that ensures their god's favor. Like Peter and Thomason, Danny's fate was sealed long before she realized it. Sacrifice is central to Midsummer and Hereditary, a key ritual that strengthens the bonds between the physical and supernatural realms. Danny's grief leaves her vulnerable, just like Annie in Hereditary, a recurring A24 theme where trauma opens the door to dark forces. During the May Queen ceremony, the intricate flower crowns resemble the headgear worn by cult leaders in Hereditary, another visual cue linking these rituals. Unlike the period settings of previous films, Talk to Me gives us a modern take on supernatural manipulation. A group of teens invite spirits to possess them for fun, until they realize too late that some forces just never let go. But what makes Talk to Me even scarier is how it suggests that these same entities that manipulated Thomas and Peter and Danny are still around. They just found new ways to interact with the living. Possession, a central theme in Hereditary, returns in Talk to Me. Mia's fate echoes Peter's. Once marked by these entities, escape is basically impossible. The line between the living and the dead is blurred, much like in Hereditary, where the supernatural world encroaches upon reality. The hand used in Talk to Me eerily resembles the sculpted hands used in Hereditary's ritual scenes, another subtle nod that suggests continuity between these forces. Now, if these films are connected, then the different supernatural forces could be manifestations of one overarching entity. Paimon from Hereditary, the devil from the witch, the Swedish cult in Midsummer, and the light in the lighthouse and the spirits in Talk to Me. What if these are all different faces of one ancient malevolent force? Each film represents a different method of control. You have possession, cult indoctrination, cosmic madness, but they all share the same message. Free will is an illusion. Every protagonist thinks they're making choices, but in reality, Thomason was always going to join the witches. Peter was always going to be Paymon's host. Danny was always going to be the May Queen. The lighthouse keepers were always going to go mad. And Mia was always going to be taken. There was never an escape, and maybe that's the scariest part of it all. If A24 continues making horror films with these themes, we may even get more clues about the unseen forces pulling the strings. Can we eventually see a film that ties all these stories together? Will the connection become even clearer as new films add more context? Or maybe all this is just one big, terrifying coincidence. Either way, A24 has crafted a universe where horror isn't just about the jump scares. It's about the slow, creeping realization that you were never in control to begin with. So, what do you think? Is there an A24 horror universe? Or are we just looking too deep into it? Or am I looking too deep into it? Let me know in the comments. Enjoy the video, like the video. See you next time.